Hi, it's Dorothy Guining with Scrapbooking Quebec. Today I'm participating in Kiki Halbert's monthly YouTube collaboration, Scrapbooking from the Heart. We create layouts inspired by one-word prompts designed to make you think about why you are scrapbooking a particular layout and to encourage you to look at your stories in a little bit more depth. April's prompt is renewal. You will find links to all the other participants in the description box below, so be sure to check out what they're up to this month. Here's what I'm going to be creating, and in addition to this, I am going to be talking about story, material selection, and of course, journaling. So first I want to talk about the story. Here are the two photos I'm going to be scrapbooking. That's me and my friend shopping at a garden center this spring. So spring, flowers, that all works with this month's prompt, renewal. To bring this story to another level, I could create a layout about resuming or renewing an activity. And in this case, it would be meeting up with a dear friend, a person I used to see once a week pre-COVID. But I'm actually going to bring it up another notch because after all, this is scrapbooking from the heart. This is going to be about renewing my spirit. I hadn't seen my friend in months, and our afternoon together did me a world of good. And just a side note, this type of renewal, it doesn't have to be in the spring. It can be any time of the year. So do you see how I up the ante here from basic facts to something a bit more meaningful? I will talk more about finding your story at the end of this video when I discuss journaling. But right now I want to talk about material selection, and this is going to be kind of long, so if you're not interested, just skip ahead to the process. When I select material, I consider two main things. I consider color, and in these photos, for example, there are lots of colors: yellow, pink, green, more. The paper I selected is from the Maggie Holmes Marigold collection, and it works really well, the pinks, the golds, all of that. But I probably could have found other papers that went as well. What I'm saying here is there isn't a one right paper. There isn't necessarily the perfect paper. Typically, there's a lot that will go with it. So if you find yourself taking a really long time selecting colors and papers, remind yourself there isn't one right paper. Personally, when selecting material, what I find more important than color is the mood and feel. And if you listen to Janet Madison on RTS Scrapbooking or watch her, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But if not, let me resume here. Think about the mood your photos convey. Are they energetic and fun, like a kid's birthday party? Or are they peaceful and relaxing? Also, do your photos have a country or rustic vibe, or are they polished and elegant? Use the answers to these questions as a guide when selecting material. Now, for these photos, for example, I'm at a garden center flower shopping, so flowers obviously work well. But garden centers are kind of dirty, and there's lots of wooden crates and cardboard and all that stuff. So the colors that I selected are kind of muted. Actually, that yellow kind of looks dirty. And I also have wood grain paper here as well. So do you see what I mean? The mood in the material kind of matches the mood in my photos. Now, as for embellishing, I'm going to talk a bit about that throughout the process. But now I'm going to jump into the process. So in advance, I prepared a frame style foundation with 2 sheets of paper, and I gutted one of them. Actually, I gutted 2 of them, and there is a tutorial on my channel where I do that, so I will link that up below. And I also matted 2 photos. I double matted 2 photos. Also on my desk, I have the paper. I just spoke at great length about those papers. And I also have a handful of scraps because this is my April stash kit and I'm really at the end of the kit, so I have a lot of leftovers. And I'm also going to be creating my embellishments. Now, as for embellishments, the Maggie Holmes Marigold embellishments probably would have worked perfect for this collection, but they are picked through for me by this time in the month, so I went to my tools. Now, the die set I'm showing you now is called Poppy Moments dies from Stampin' Up. I'm showing you one of the flowers I made and a leaf. I will show you that a bit later on in the video. This die set is new to me. It's been around for about a year from Stampin' Up. Also, when I was going through my tools, I feel like I'm stretching it here, but this is a mini treat bag. And I was thinking, well, we were shopping, so shopping bags may work. But also what I was thinking there is it would be great to use those bags for layering and a fun way to add an interactive element on the page. And I'll show you that later on. And those are called wooden alphas, something like that. That's what I will be creating my title with. Again, that's a new tool for me. So what I'm going to do right now is start creating a bunch of embellishments that will serve as my photo mat. You're going to see I end up piling a whole bunch of stuff behind these photos. The first thing I'm going to do is create one of these treat bags. I only create one on camera just to show you. And after I do this, I will show you how to make your own treat bag if you do not have this die. This particular die, well, the die set has a whole bunch of dies, but to make the bag, it comes in two pieces. That's what I just cut out. And you're going to see it comes with little crease lines. So that's what I'm doing. I'm folding it all up and I'm going to adhere the bag together. Now the tape I'm using is called Terran tape. I think that one's from Stampin' Up. Different companies make it, but it's a heavy duty tape. And these bags are going to be interactive elements because I'm going to be tucking journaling and other things in the bags. So I want them to be really heavy duty. That's why I'm using this tape. Once I do it, I'm going to get out my bone folder and I'm really going to flatten this down because there's going to be a lot of layers underneath my photos. So you can see off camera, I actually made 4 bags. I end up only using 3 of them. But what I'm going to do right now is show you how to make your own treat bag if you do not have a treat bag die. So cut yourself a piece of paper that measures 5¼ inches by 7¾ inches. Then what I did was from the left-hand side on the inside, I scored a line at 2¼ inches and then another one at 6 inches. So what I do now is I fold them over and you can kind of see how it forms the little bag there. Now before adhering it, what I did was I took a circle punch and I just kind of scooped out half a circle from the front of the bag just to make it kind of interesting, also so that you could see the inside of the paper. Now my bag is different. I don't have a circle scooped out of mine, but I did think it kind of made a fun little bag. I would use the very same type of adhesive, that heavy duty Terran tape adhesive, just to add adhesive at the bottom and then one piece of adhesive on the back to adhere the back sides together. And you can see there, it's the very same size as the bag that I created with my die. Also off camera, I cut myself out a bunch of these flowers from that die set called Poppy Moments dies. And you can see there, the flowers come in 3 pieces, essentially a large solid piece, then that detailed top piece that you see me adding adhesive to right now, and then there's a little center piece. You're going to see that in a minute that I adhere in the middle. The adhesive I just used is called Sticky Specs by Ecstasy Crafts. It's basically adhesive on a piece of almost wax paper and you put your detailed piece on top and it picks up the adhesive. As you can see, I also put an enamel dot in the middle of the flower and I cut out a bunch of those leaves also off camera. That again is from the same Poppy Moments die set. So now I have all of my embellishments around me and what I'm going to do is create a layered photo mat with all of these embellishments. Now the top part, which is going to be these 3 bags and my 2 photos, they're all going to be kind of at an angle, which is really uncharacteristic of me because I typically keep things really straight on a page, which leads me to this floral border shelf that I'm putting underneath my photos. That is really straight. And for me, and this is just my style, when things are crooked on a page, which is rare, I typically like some real solid straight line to use as a base, and that's exactly what I'm doing with that floral border that's going to go underneath my photos. I kind of played around with placement and now I'm ready to adhere, and what you saw me do a moment ago was just take a pencil and I marked a little mark where I wanted the bags to go. And I'm also adhering these bags to the page with that very same tear and tape. Again, I'm going to be tucking things in it, and I do not want those to lift off the page because my photos are going to be on top of it. So if those bags lift off, everything's going to lift off the page. Now what I'm doing is adhering that floral bottom shelf on the page, and some of them, two of the flowers are going to be popped up on foam adhesive, and once I get the flowers down, then I'm going to come in and tuck in the leaves here and there. I do want to point out that the leaves that are on the far right and the far left of this border, in the still photos at the very end, you're going to notice they shrink up a bit. I find them a little bit long here, but I didn't notice I didn't like them until later on. So I've got all of that adhered down, and now I am going to have to think about journaling and a title. So I'm going to start with the journaling, and essentially what I'm doing here is creating 3 tags for those bags. Now each one of these tags, I'll put measurements for all of this on the screen, but I do know they are 3 inches wide. And what I did was I took a tag from my stash and I simply traced in pencil the angled corners on the top of the tag on each one of the little tags that I made, and then I trimmed it with my trimmer, and then I punched a hole in the middle. It's really an easy way to create a tag, and you can do it in whatever size you want. Mine are 3 inches wide because I knew they would slip well into the bags, and what you see me doing right now is creating reinforcers. So I'm simply using a hole punch and a 1/2 inch circle punch to create a little ring. I first did it in a pale pink, then I ended up in that darker pink, and you're going to see at the end I switched that up as well. What I'm doing right now, I'm getting out this stamp set. There's no real name to it. It came from Scrapbooking Cards Today, one of their delivered kits a few years ago, and it's written the details. Now what I'm going to do on one of those tags where my journaling is going to go, I'm going to stamp the details on top, and that's going to be peeking out of the bag. That way a viewer will be prompted to know that there is something in that bag that's worth looking at, or anyway, that's the intent. So I stamped that out in black, and again, you're going to see later on that gets switched up as well. I had auditioned pink and black, and I went with the black, but I do end up with the pink. I do trim down 2 of the tags here. So the one on the far right with the details, that one's longer because I want the details to peek out of the bag, but the other 2 are a little tucked in further. I am adding twine. That twine there is from Lawn Fawn. And now I'm showing you the title, which I cut out in advance with my Big Shot. Now my title is Yes in quotation marks. And when I do my journaling at the very end of this video, you will understand why my title is Yes. Now those alphas there, they're about 2 inches, and there's actually an embossed wood grain on it. You can't see it there. To boot, it's wood grain paper, but it is there. And each one of those letters has 2 additional layers of cardstock underneath, just so that it would pop up a bit, because thin paper underneath that really layered border, it wouldn't have stood out enough. What I'm showing you here right now is I stopped the camera and I went to re-adhere my title because I didn't feel there was enough adhesive on it. And when I did that, I felt that the wood grain title wasn't balanced well with the top of the page. So to balance it, what I did was I created more reinforcers, this time in the wood grain, and I liked it better. When I did that, I felt I was missing some pink, and that's why I switched up the tag with the word the details, and I made myself a tag and simply stamped the details in pink. And now what you also see me doing is tucking in a little flower and a few leaves in between those 2 photos. Basically, there was a little bit of trapped space there that I wanted to kind of cover up. So I added a little flower up there and a few leaves, and I'm pretty much at the end here. All I'm going to do is add a little bow to this other tag, and then I'm finished. The one with the details is where my journaling is going to go, and I am going to talk about the journaling. But before doing that, I do want to just review what I spoke about earlier about this story. Now remember, I said this story could have been about spring flower shopping with a friend. That's it. It could have been about resuming or renewing an activity that I used to do pre-COVID. But this story is really about my mindset, and that's something only I can tell. This makes this page truly personal. So here it goes. I'm going to read to you what I wrote. When my friend texted me asking if I wanted to meet her at the garden center, I immediately responded, yes. When? Not only did my quick, uncomplicated response surprise her, it surprised me too. I had no interest in flower shopping, but needed to do something different. I needed to see my friend. The last time I saw her was in January, I think. Quebec has been locked down pretty much since the COVID second wave began last September. Now we're in the third wave. I followed her around for 2 hours. We had so much fun catching up, taking photos, and laughing. Yes, the flowers were beautiful, but my afternoon with my dear friend was even more beautiful. I needed this. So there you have it. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it gave you an idea on how to create a layout with the prompt renewal. I also hope it gave you an idea on how to look at your stories in a little bit more depth. If you enjoyed this video, I would truly appreciate a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed to Scrapbooking Quebec, I would be absolutely thrilled if you did. Also, don't forget to check out the other participants, find out what they're doing with this prompt this month. Thank you so much for watching and have a fantastic day. Bye-bye.